And over to you, Chris.
There you go. Magic. Thank you, Faye. Hi everybody. Thanks for having me here today. Um, and apologies, it's a little bit late. So I originally sent over an idea for what we're going to talk about to Faye a little while ago when we chatted about this. And things have changed an awful lot since then in the Google world. So we're still going to be talking about SEO. We're still going to be talking about what's going on. I've just had to add a few extra topics in because Google likes to keep us all on our toes. So what I kind of wanted to talk to everybody about today was basically what's going on in the world of SEO, what you can look at, what's happening with things like AI. Um, People are changing the way that they're working, people are changing the way they're searching online, and what I want to try and get across is how you can use some of these tactics to help get clients, people to your website, and kind of just see how it works for you at the moment because this year things have really been turned on their head with especially my world in marketing. You're probably seeing this across a lot of other things as well with TikTok, Instagram, all of that. It's all just not the same as it was even 6 months ago. So I've got a little bit of a slideshow I'm gonna show. They're talking points rather than death by PowerPoint. And I just want to use it to sort of kind of go through some of what these changes are looking like. So essentially, or Faye, could you thank you very much. Essentially what's going on in the world at the moment is people are changing the way that they are searching online. And effectively, things like ChatGPT came into play about a year ago. It's been around for a long time. About a year ago, it kind of exploded everywhere, and AI is just all over the shop now. Everybody's trying to keep up, so Google are changing the way they're working. You've got other tools like Perplexity. You're seeing almost everything online is using AI to try and help you and your business. That is having a huge impact on the way people are searching, the way people are looking for things as well. So, what I wanted to do was talk through what this changing face of AI actually looks like, and some of the things that are really changing really quite quickly are the metrics and the things that we used to see as a success in this world versus what is happening now. And effectively, I've also put the wrong date on this slideshow, so it's going really well today. So effectively, what we've got is looking at things like ranking. So it used to be if you're on page one, that was a massive success. That was, you're winning, you're probably getting traffic for that. But the way that this is changing is that people are the results that you're seeing online are changing. So you and I could sit next to each other. We could Google something and we'll see things in totally different orders. That's always sort of been the case. So you may have the same top 10 results, but in different orders. But what's happening now is the results are, I would say, 80% different between you and the person next to you. And that's because of the way that AI is analyzing you as a person and your persona and working out what to show you. And the best way that I can kind of explain that is i- Google Ads. So if you were to search for something and you see a Google ad pop up at the top, but you don't click on it, you search for the same thing again, the same ad pops up, you don't click on it. The third time you search for it, it'll show you a different ad because it's kind of worked out you're not interested in that. I'm going to show you something else that you might be interested in. And that is how rankings and organic rankings appearing on page one is changing everything. So it's trying to show things that are more personal to the user, to the person searching, to get them more refined results. So the more you interact with something or you create an action or do something will help Google, etc., understand what you're doing, what you're about, who you are, and try to tailor the results to you. So I'll talk a bit more about that as we go through, but effectively, what we used to class as good and what used to be the metrics we looked at, it's just completely changing. It's all different. So things I'm going to go through today are basically how it's changing, why these rankings are less reliable now. And we're going to talk a little bit about AI overview and AI mode. So I'm going to talk a lot about AI. AI is a big topic. I'm not going to cover all of it because it is humongous. But you've got to consider things like in Google, you've got things like AI mode, AI overview, two separate AIs within Google. You've then got Gemini, you've got things like ChatGPT, you've got Perplexity, you've got all of these different things. So whilst they are AI tools, they're changing the way people are searching, they're changing the way results are given to people, and that's having a knock-on effect to other things, which is where we've got to try and interpret and infer data a bit differently, but also trying to understand how you get into these results. So by kind of understanding this whole process will help you work out what to do for your business. And this is where we've got this weird clicks paradox at the moment is, again, traditional metrics, they're changing. And what we're seeing is a different kind of traffic to your website to what we've traditionally seen and would traditionally class as success. And this is where reporting is getting harder. So it's getting more difficult for you to go and track what's going on, etc. It's getting more difficult for us as well. A big part of it is because Google broke something about 8 days ago. They've not said what or why they've done it, but we can see the impact that's had. So we'll kind of talk a little bit about that today. But this is where I think a lot of people who are not in the world of doing this day in, day out will see something happen in Google Search Console. And a lot of people will panic when they see what they've seen. But there's actually no need to panic. It's just the way that they're recording the data has changed rather than things actually changing. And what we're going to talk about is what we're doing for our clients in terms of sort of reporting structures and monthly catch-ups, because I'm hoping that gives you a bit of insight into how these things are really working now, and also a bit about what you can be doing to help yourselves. So again, this is not really going to be death by PowerPoint. They are talking points for us. And effectively, AI overview is changing everything. So SEO is, I'm going to kind of tongue in cheek say, SEO was always called search engine optimization. It's kind of like a search everywhere optimization now. So you might hear things like AEO, GEO. So AEO is answer engine optimization, GEO is generative engine optimization. Basically, that's what SEO is these days. It's all about what information is shown to you based on a search that you put in. So perhaps you go to Google, you search for something, and you get that AI overview bit pop up at the top. That's essentially generative engine optimization or answer engine optimization. They're one and the same. And effectively, what that is doing is answering the question for you without needing to go to the website to get that answer. As a rule, that information is normally informational information. And by that, I mean it's people trying to research something or understand something rather than somebody searching for a business coach near me or a physiotherapist near me. That's kind of commercial term. This is more informational in terms of how do I, what about, who is, where are, those kind of intent-based questions is what is typically appearing in that AI overview section. Now, as a result of that, we've always said for a long, long time, blogs are really important, gets you traffic, gets you clicks to your website. And that is true, but there's a caveat to that these days. So those blogs, typically what was happening was people were going to your clicking on your website as a result of searching for something, getting the answer on your website. They may have ended up working with you. But what's happening now is people are asking the same questions in a different way. And this is where this AI overview bit is popping up at the top. So what is happening is people don't need to go to your website to get that answer anymore. The AI overview is answering that question as a result of those blog posts on your website. So the stats from this, since middle of this year, thereabouts, 65% of searches no longer leave Google, which is an astronomical number. So people are hanging about in Google that much more because it's giving the answers without having to go to your website to get the answer. That can be as a result of that AI overview. You've also got AI mode now in Google, which is a little bit like ChatGPT in the way it gives you answers. It's not like a help me create a blog post kind of AI, but it helps summarize information quite easily and quickly. It's still using all the pages on page one of Google and even beyond that to help give that information. So you've still got to do all the things you've always done for SEO, get your website listed, have the content on your website, etc. It's just being presented in a different way. All right. So you've still got to do all the same stuff, but it's just being presented. And this is where things are changing. So yeah, 65% of searches no longer leave Google. So we are seeing a decline in traffic, but also the general number we're seeing is, I think it's something like 34.5% of a click reduction for those who would normally rank in position one. So that's a huge drop there that we're seeing, is that people who would rank number one for a thing are seeing far less clicks and traffic to their website. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I'll go into that a little bit in a minute. So what we're seeing is that there's fewer links on page one, because page one is going to be a finite space. And what they're doing is filling it up with everything. So many years ago, page one of Google used to just be 10 links. And then suddenly you might have an image there, or a video, or people also ask, or business profile, or whatever it might be. There's one of 45, 50 different things that can appear. Plus you've got AI, plus you've got ads. So there's all these things that can appear on page one. You've now also got AI mode, which is another way of showing data and information. And what I said earlier about AI overviews, which is the bit at the top, showing you more informational type information, is that's what is more informational content goes to. AI overview is a bit of both, informational and commercial. So you may go to AI overview and search for, best business coach near me, and you want your business to come up and be recommended in there. So what we're finding is that page one of Google is changing. So when clients come to us and say, "Oh, I'm not on page one of Google," there's a bit of me that's, I don't really care at the minute, because there's so many other places you can be. Because what people are doing is looking at traditional metrics of, I'm position one, I'm position two. That's great. You might be for you, you're going to be position 20 for somebody else. It's all about how these tools are consuming your data to put it in front of your relevant target audience. So this is where persona mapping and all that really comes into it. And what we're finding is that people who are really clear with their messaging, their content as to who they're targeting, who they want to work with, they're the ones getting better quality leads at the moment. So I'll probably come onto this in a little bit as well. But as a rule of thumb, across every single website in the world right now, traffic is going down, but intent is going up. So it means by the time people get to you, they are warmer leads than they've ever been before. And the reason for that is people are going to things like ChatGPT and they're searching for, I'm looking for the best business coach in Bristol. And ChatGPT is going to say, great, what kind of business have you got? Where do you work? Have you got a team? You're gonna have conversations with it. And over time, as anybody who's used ChatGPT knows, it knows how it wants you to respond, or how you want it to respond. It knows the sort of things that it needs to know about you to help craft the response. You might say, I use this bit of software, and it will know that for future reference when recommending things to you. So because it's built up this persona of you, what's happening is by the time it recommends the person to go and speak to for you to work with, it's a pretty hot lead. So it's filtered out all these things already. So you then go to Google. What's happening is people then go to Google and typically just search for the business name. They're not going to Google and searching for business coach near me. They're searching for, you know, Joe Blogs or Jane Blogs, business coach in Bristol, because all that filtering has already been done within these AI tools. So they know who to go and speak to. So we are typically seeing branded search terms are increasing in Google because all these other tools are recommending who to go and speak to. So your job there is to make sure you're the one being recommended in all these places. So as a result, we're seeing rankings not really matter as much anymore. They're still important, but not nowhere near what they were. Rankings probably used to account for about 80% of the benefit. It's probably about 20% now. In all honesty, it's a significant drop because it's just not the thing that AI is looking at to try and understand who you are. And what we're seeing is brand searches increase. So traffic to website is down, but it's higher intent. And this is where blogs and content is really important. So this is where there's sort of fewer results on page one, but there's more interactive ways of doing it and getting that information out. And this is where these user journeys are starting and ending in Google, because people are interacting with AI mode, AI overview, they're reading these things. And let's say you do get cited in the AI overview. So it might say, this is the best business coach in Bristol, or these are the business coaches in Bristol to work with. SEO tools can't really track this at the minute. So what we're finding is Google are changing the way they're showing data at the moment to try and accommodate for it. But there's nothing concrete like there used to be. with these metrics to understand what's actually going on. So they're coming, but this has really changed in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So it's all kind of new and fresh is in the way that this is working. So it just means that Google at the moment are keeping people in their ecosystem. They're keeping people there and trying to provide them answers there. And this is where it really isn't about ranking number one anymore. So when we get clients coming to us and kind of this is our goal, I'm like, that's great. That's not really what will work for you anymore. That's not what's going to work. So this is where I was talking about traffic drops. So as a rule, what we're finding is so we're working with a large cruelty-free beauty company at the moment. I can't name them, but I would almost guarantee everybody knows who they are. And effectively, what we're finding is when we're looking at these traditional um, metrics, keyword rankings, traffic, all this stuff, it looks like the things that they want to get found for are just not getting traffic, not getting clicks. And when you go to SEO tools, because typically you would always look at what's the search volume, what's the keyword difficulty to try and rank for, and that was what would normally help you try and understand what to target. What we're actually seeing is the volume of searches is going down as well because traditional SEO tools are built on looking at what people searching for in a traditional manner. But people are talking more naturally now when they're asking questions in ChatGPT. It's more kind of long tail question form rather than just business coach Bristol. It's I need a business coach who can help with a small company or something like that. And that's the sort of metric that's really changing. And that's where we can't really get too much of that information right now from any tools that are out there. But what we can see is these branded search terms. So they typically stay showing sort of really stable impressions, and the clicks are generally improving because these tools are recommending the people to work with rather than giving a list based on a key search term like we would traditionally look at. And this is where for these kind of services, we're seeing that clicks are going down. So as an example, this beauty company I mentioned, their clicks have probably dropped 35-40% in the last 12 months for things like, cruelty-free makeup or whatever it might be. But their revenue has gone up something like 60%. So it's really sort of top and tail opposites of what is going on according to the data. So clicks are down, don't really care because we're getting more relevant content and traffic from these other places. And this is where AI generated summaries are really starting to show. So this is a screenshot from them in terms of their clicks. You can see clicks have gone down about 60% in the last year or so. And realistically, their traffic has been absolutely fine. The quality has been far higher because what you're finding is people are going and having conversations with things like ChatGPT, and they're basically saying, "Hey, I'm looking," and this is a really good example. It's one that we've actually worked on with them. Is I'm looking for a nighttime skincare routine. And it says, "Great, what you kind of thinking?" And it'll say, "Well, I've got perhaps oily skin. Have you got any preferences?" Well, I want it to be cruelty free. I want it to be vegan friendly. And what it's doing is something called query fan out. And that basically means a bit of a yes no decision tree. So imagine you've got, I'm going to just stop sharing my screen for a second because what I want to do is show you a bit of my YMCA dance for this one to try and make it make sense. Is that a yes no decision tree? It basically works out. You ask a question and it goes to yes no. All right. Does your website answer that question? If yes, great. Carry on to the next stage. You can ask the next question. So I want vegan makeup or whatever it might be. Does your website say that you've got vegan makeup on there? Yes or no? If yes, great, you're on to the next one. And it's going to keep going down like this until you've got the nighttime skincare routine that you want and your website, so the website we're trying to get in front of these people are within this decision tree. So by the end of this question set, it's basically going to recommend a list of 5 or 6 products perhaps, or the companies who will sell these products, and you'll go and look for them. Whereas if at any point you don't answer the question that the person is searching for, you are out of that race, which is not necessarily a bad thing because you don't want people coming to you if you don't sell that thing or you don't do that thing. So what it tells us is that we're trying to make sure we've got enough content and information on our website that answers or targets the people that we're actively looking for and looking to work with. Because imagine you are a business coach and you work specifically with, I don't know, say florists and cake makers, but you get an inquiry from somebody who is an artist or something. Well, it's going to be a dead lead for you anyway. You don't want that traffic. So it's getting filtered out much further up the funnel before it comes to you. So what you've got to do is make sure you've got the relevant information on your website that says that you're targeting these people. And this is what we call hyper personalization. So this is where you create personas that of people you want to work with, and you create content to support it. So perhaps it is you're a business coach who helps florists. You might have several blog posts on your website that's talking about, how you've helped a florist grow, or how you've helped them move studio or expand or hire a team member. And you've got several blog posts that are targeting and talking about helping a florist do things that are all related to what a business coach can help mentor with. That gives evidence and sort of credence and authority to Google to say, business coach for florist, here's the evidence. So when these tools, ChatGPT or AI Overview or whatever it might be, are searching the web to understand who can I recommend to this florist searching for a business coach, it's going to know, right, there's a website here. They say they're a business coach for florists. They've got this information on their website showing all the experience they've got helping florists grow and expand their business. I'm more likely to put you in front of that person searching for it. And that's kind of what we want to try and do. That's what hyper personalization is. It does mean content is getting more and more important. It does mean it's going to be a bit of a slog at points to create the content because you're going to probably sound and feel like you're talking about the same thing quite a lot. But what we're trying to do is answer several questions from several different angles. So Google, AI, ChatGPT, all of the above working the same, can scan and understand your website, what you're doing, who you're working with, so it knows how it can kind of get you in front of them. So when you're creating that content, what you want to be doing is with the blog posts is linking those blogs together so they're relevant. So you might have a blog post about how you've helped them move studio, but that's kind of relevant to growing their business. So you might say, here's a blog post talking about how I've helped a florist move studio, but then you've got another blog post talking about how you've helped them hire a team member to manage the new studio, and you can link those two blogs together quite neatly. So you're creating this really nice content cluster around the topic of helping a florist grow their business, and that links back naturally to a business coach for a florist. Because all of these things are the sort of questions people are going to be chatting with ChatGPT, AI mode about, and it's the way that Google, etc., is going. It's the way it's changing. So, as an example, somebody then goes to Google, a florist goes to Google, looks for a business coach. It's going to know, great, you're looking for a business coach. I know you're a florist. It's going to say, what are you trying to achieve? Why do you want help? And that's where somebody's probably going to say something like, I want to move studio, I want to hire a team member, etc. So by having all that content on your website is supporting it. But this is where you'll probably, it's a big bold statement now, you're probably not going to have that much traffic to those blog posts. But what is going to happen is AI is going to read those blog posts. So blogs are kind of going the way of not for people anymore. They're going for AI to understand your business so it can put you in front of other people. So that's where this is quite important to get this all set up and linked properly and working together on your site. So what that effectively means is that you get to this point where the responses basically answer the question that people are searching for without going to the website. And what's happening is you're being cited as a source material. So if you've got all this information on your website about helping florists grow and doing this and doing that, your website is going to be cited as the source of why it's being included in these AI overviews and AI modes and ChatGPT results. So it's important to have it on the website. That's how you get into these results. It's just being shown and displayed differently. And what we're finding is people generally don't scroll past the first screen of Google anymore because they're getting the answers, because the answers are getting better and better. So by feeding it with the information that you're going to be in, that'll just help you get shown and get seen there. And this is where keywords aren't really reflecting reality anymore. So going back to the example of the business coach, um, people might still go to Google and search for business coach for florist. But what's happening is the language is getting a bit more conversational now. So it might be business coach, florist to help me grow or to move or whatnot. So the language is getting longer. So a keyword used to be 1, 2 words. Long tail keywords used to be 3 or 4 words long. The average long tail keyword now is between 9 and 13 words long. So it's far longer, it's far more conversational, it's much more sort of question based intent for these things. And this is where SEO tools, etc., cannot track those at the moment. It's coming. In the last 2 or 3 weeks, there's tools that have released monitoring for the new way of working, and they are hundreds of pounds a month per website, per platform. So, as an example, let's say I'm going to pick on Freelance Mum website. Let's say we wanted to monitor that in Google. That would be about £200 a month to monitor that if you wanted to do it properly, sort of a top tier grade. But if you wanted to monitor it in ChatGPT, that'd be another £200. But wait, there's several versions of ChatGPT. So that's £200 per version. So these tools are just extortionate at the moment, and they're not actually super accurate, is what we're finding. So this is where it's understanding intent and trying to infer what's going on. And this goes back to really old school marketing, trying to understand your customer, talking to your customer directly, and putting that content on your website to really help answer the questions people are searching for. So one of the biggest bits of advice I can give anybody right now is write down every question any of your clients ever ask you, create a blog post about it. Just write that and get that content on your website and link it to other relevant questions and topics on your site to do with that. That would be one of the easiest and best ways you can generate content and get yourself listed and talked about in these AI tools. And this is where volumes are misleading. So, once upon a time, I'll give you an example of us. So we are currently number one in Bristol for things like Bristol SEO company, SEO agency, etc., etc. Again, it will fluctuate depending on who's searching, where you are, etc. According to the tools, we're number one. When we're searching, we're number one. On average, that search volume had round about 800 searches a month for that. Okay. That number has been declining because people are going to things like ChatGPT, they go into AI mode to try and find these things, and these tools can't monitor those search volumes. But people are typically searching for things slightly differently now. So let's say average 700 searches a month for that search volume. We probably get, being as we're in position one for those terms, 3 to 5 clicks a day on our website. So huge numbers we're talking in terms of volume, but not that many clicks to our website. But what's happening since all of these changes is the quality of the leads have gone through the roof. So I would arguably say that of those 3 a day that click on our website, we probably get at least one lead out of it, and they're pretty warm. So this is where these numbers are changing, and we shouldn't always be chasing numbers blindly in this new world because things are just different because it's just not working the same as it used to. So this is where the intent matters. So what we want to make sure of is people get to you much quicker, they're talking to you much quicker, and it's more relevant traffic. So I wouldn't chase traffic anymore. I would track that and chase that intent. So why are people talking to you? Who are your clients? What are they after? It's because search is much more human these days. And this is where conversational tones and terms are coming into things. So, when you're creating blogs, don't really worry about keyword placement. How many times should you have it here? What words are you chasing? Blogs are now there to be really natural. It's great that you can optimize them. I'm not saying don't do any sort of good practices, but it's not like it used to be. Just talk really naturally, talk like you're talking to somebody in a conversation when you're helping them and working with them. And this is where things are changing in the Google landscape, is that they're not just looking at things like words, they're looking at the meaning behind it as well. So it's trying to understand the intent of what you're talking about, how you're helping, who you work with, who you help, which is why it's important to have all of these topics on your website that show that you do these things. If you've just got a page that says you are a business coach for a florist, that's great. But actually, I would say let's say there's 10 different services a business coach could help with. Do you do all 10 of those things? Do you only do 5 of them? Do you not do exit plans, perhaps? Just making sure you're being really specific about the things that you do and you help with. So just making sure you've got it all on there. Because if you're not saying it on your website, Google, etc., don't know that you do it. All right. So it's being really clear with all of that. And you can't track all of this in Search Console. A lot of this is kind of out in the ether, should we say? And it's because Google have changed the way that a lot of their reporting is showing things. On the 8th of September, they changed a lot of things, and we're not quite sure what or why they've done it yet. There's been no official announcement from them. But if you go into Google Search Console, for those of you who have access to it and use this, go into Google Search Console. And if you look at your stats for the last, say, 12 months, what you will find, and this has happened on every single one of our clients' websites, is from the 8th of September, you will see impressions drop. So the purple line, starting the week commencing the 8th of September, drops. It could be drastic, it could be gradual, but it will go down. But I will almost guarantee if you click the average position button, the yellow line, that will have gone up at the same time. So what it's showing, I think, based on the research we've done, is that that average position is now starting to include where you are in AI mode and AI overview. So I think it's starting to show the visibility that you've got there. The data is not all there, it's not all complete, but the fact that your impressions, which was once your visibility, has gone down, your average position has gone up, I think is something starting there on how they're going to be reporting on AI mode data to show how you're being seen in these other places as well. That's my theory right now. And that's where it's inferring the data. So if anybody goes into Search Console, sees a huge plummet in impressions from the 8th of September, don't panic. It's happening for every website around the world right now. And this is where it gets even that much more weird, is that impressions are down, but clicks are generally staying the same, if not increasing. So I think something's changing there in the way that Google is showing some of this data. And that's where it's hiding this nuance of averages, because we haven't got the full picture just yet. And this is where, as well, even Google Search Console is not officially accounting for AI mode, AI overview at the moment. I think it will come. But right now, it's looking at what is going on, trying to understand where things are. So I think it's probably fair to say that if you are in the position where you're tracking keywords, I would probably stop tracking broad keywords and probably even start tracking your brand term, because what we're seeing is brand clicks, especially in the last 2 or 3 weeks, are starting to increase. And again, the theory there is because people are searching for you, the services you offer in ChatGPT, and then people are going to search for you in Google. So that's where strategic high intent terms come into it. So really say what you do on the tin. Say that you are offering business coach services for florists. You're doing exit planning, you're doing growth plans. Be really clear, really obvious, and really talk about all the content of what you do and how you help people. All right. And that is pretty much what's going on in the world of SEO right now.
Wow. Chris, that was amazing. I'm sure there's going to be lots of questions. Are you okay to take some now?
I have indeed. I'm here till 1 o'clock.
You're a
Got me for another
superstar, thank
15
you.
minutes.
So go for it. I know Swansea, you've got a question, go for it.
There you go. No, got it. Yeah. Hey, that was super helpful. Thank you. Right. So a bit of a broad existential question here, but what do you think this means for Google long term? Like, does this make Google essentially, like, 5 to 10 years? Is Google going to become redundant? Are we all going to be going, like, doing all of our searching via like ChatGPT or other? Who knows what it's going to look like in 5 to 10 years? But long term, what does this mean for actually how we use Google?
So great question, and the honest answer is nobody knows.
Yeah.
My feeling on this right now is I think in 12 to 18 months, traditional page one of Google will not be there. I think it will be all AI mode, AI overview. Again, no evidence for any of this. This is my gut feeling right now. But if you look at the way that things like ChatGPT are working, there's the next sort of phase of AI is called agentic AI, so it's agent-based AI, so where it can do things for you. And it's something else got released in the States this week for ChatGPT, where it can add things to your cart. So as an example, what you can do is go to ChatGPT, you can connect it all up to your credit card, you can connect it up to your Tesco account, and you can say to it, hey, ChatGPT, write me a meal plan for this week. And you'll say, yep, I like that one, I like that idea, great stuff. And it'll say, how many people is it for? 5 people, etc. And then it'll say, do you want me to order the ingredients for you? And you'll say, yep. And then it'll go to your Tesco account, it'll add all the ingredients to your shop, and then you just click purchase. And you've not gone to their website, you've not done anything other than ask ChatGPT to create your recipe plan or meal plan for the week. That's the way it's going. That is what's going to happen. I think websites are going to be around for the next 5, 10 plus years. So it's not anything short term that we need to worry about, but it's the way that search is changing. That's hugely, hugely changing and changing really quickly. So it's adapting to make sure, you know, if Google goes away, how else are you going to get your website found? How else are you going to get your business found? The goal is how do you get yourself into these tools? And that's kind of what we're doing as a business now. That's where we're pivoting is getting you found in all of these places. And just a little bit further to that is, I think as soon as Google figure out how to monetize AI, that's when things are going to change. So at the moment, you see Google ads at the top of page one. I think you'll start to see ads within AI mode. So people will pay to be sponsored links or whatever it is within AI recommendations. And I think once they figured out how to do that properly, that's where it'll change. Because things like ChatGPT, I'm going to make up this number, it's a little bit flippant, but ChatGPT, their annual revenue is something like $50 billion a year, something like that. But it actually costs something like 3 trillion a year to run it and do it all. So it's a huge loss-making business. And it's the same for AI around the world. The only people making money are the people who create the servers for it all to run on. So there's a bigger question there. Is that going to come back round and they're going to start to charge us to use Google or something? So there's all of these things that have got potential to change because everybody is just trying to compete with everybody without having this long-term vision of what is going to impact people on. That's my existential thought on it all. I
Wow.
could talk about hours.
Yeah, big stuff. It does make your brain go a bit strange, doesn't it? Does mine anyway. Has anyone else got any other questions? Feel free to either ask them or pop them in the chat, whichever works best for you.
Sorry, we've got another one.
Go for it.
There's too many in one place. One stays.
Oh, I just want. Hi, Chris. You can see me or not, but I just wanted to ask about images because obviously traditional SEO, you would name your images and put video content because Google likes that. Does AI still like images, and is that still worth doing and having more video on your website?
Yeah, it's so given that AI, especially ChatGPT, will only really bring back text answers and show you text answers. What it's doing is looking at the usability of the website, etc. So what it wants to know is, if I send somebody to this website, when they get on there, are they going to have a good time, effectively? So you still need images that be named properly, videos working, because it's not just AI that these things are going to be showing in. It's going to be YouTube, it's going to be image search, etc. So there's now it's not just about getting found on page one of Google, it's about getting found in 50 different places in 20 different ways. So we're still trying to tick all of these boxes, and they've all got this sort of commonality around them of traditional SEO, what you've always done. You still absolutely need to do all that stuff is still there, the technical, the content, etc. There's just now these layers to it based on where you need to get found that'll kind of enhance that visibility.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Ellie, did you look like you were about to ask something? Go for it.
Hey, Chris.
Hi, Ellie.
As a creative, when you're obviously your website, your portfolio is showing your work, and it's your copy, and that's kind of your intellectual property. How concerned should we be that obviously you need to be found in AI, but then you are feeding all of your work into AI, to then be AI to learn from?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's probably one I've not got the answer to, in all honesty. You know, there's ways you can stop AI reading your website. You can ask it, you can block it, you can do all these things. The downside to that is if you block it, you're not going to get cited in AI. So that there's a balancing act to be made there. Honestly, I probably haven't got an answer for you on that one. I think it's definitely something that is definitely being cited and talked about within, like, even government agencies. Of what do we do? How do we protect people? Because you've obviously got copyright acts, you've got trademark acts. You know, I think it's a big thing that there's no proper I don't think there's a proper handle or governance piece around this yet. It does make me question. You know, I suppose the existential question there is there any original music left in the world? Because at some point there's only so many chords you can use. You know, so it's just at some point a mishmash of what's already come before. And if you think of AI, the amount of people using ChatGPT to verbatim create blogs to put on their websites, so what's going to happen is AI is going to be trained on AI content, and it's just going to roll over. So it's making sure you've always got unique insights and input onto it. So never just verbatim copy and paste ChatGPT to your website. That's at the moment the only way I can see keeping this fresh and working, because it will get to a point where AI is trained on AI. Is it correct at that point? There's all these questions to come from it.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thanks for that question, Ellie. We've still got Chris for the last few minutes, so if anyone else has got another question, please do fire away. Is the camera trailing Swansea again? Go for it.
Going back to what you said early on, around 65% of searches no longer leaving Google, so it's, you know, all AI generated answers. Like, how confident can we be in the truth of it? Because, like, we all use ChatGPT and it gets things wrong all the time still. So, like, is what we're seeing on Google accurate, and how confident can we be that it's giving us actual, real?
Honestly, I would always fact check it and double check things by going to what I would class as reputable sources. So, you know, it's going to what you know. I don't know, if you're fact checking something about health, go and look at the NHS website or something like that. When this first started and came out, in my sort of marketing world, one of the big stories was AI mode was being trained on Reddit forums. So it's looking at what people are asking and talking about. You're nodding like you might know this story. There was a question around how do you put pepperoni on a pizza, and somebody in a Reddit forum comment was like, use glue. So AI overview was saying use glue to put pepperoni on pizza, which is obviously not right. It's you know, it shows that it was very immature at that stage. It is getting better, but as far as I am aware, there's no sort of fact checking. There's no anything like that going into it at the minute. So I think honestly you can't 100% trust what it's giving you. They are doing things to help and to kind of safeguard it to a point, but I would always fact check things that get shown in there. So I think what is changing is AI mode. So AI overview is the top bit. AI mode is the separate search feature within Google. That bit is getting more reliable because it's using more commercial terms. So if somebody's searching for a business coach, as an example, it's only going to recommend business coaches. That's kind of that world of it. Whereas the AI overview is more about informational. It's pulling information from blog posts to give that. So typically what happens if something ranks well on Google because it's had lots of interactions, lots of shares, lots of engagement, there's a theory here that it's typically reliable. Therefore, it's only going to use those to cite to put into that AI overview result. So there's all these other safeguarding and metrics going on to try and help improve that. I think it's only going to get better. I don't think it's ever going to be perfect, but that's the way it looks like it's going at the moment.
I think there's definitely questions around like nuance though, isn't there? Like nuance gets lost, and ultimately if you're talking about like AI generating more content from AI sources rather than human sources, it's I don't know, I think there's some issues around like truth, facts, and like all of that, you know. It's quite scary.
Yeah, it's a big scary subject, to say the least. Yeah, yeah, that's probably the best insight I've got on it at the moment.
Thank
Chris,
you.
thank you so much, and thank you for all the questions, and sorry for the hiccup at the beginning. It's been absolutely fantastic. My personal takeaways are that to continue to blog, but actually keeping it more you as well. Otherwise, we're just going to end up in a world where it's all eating itself. So yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic, really enjoyable. Thank you so much for taking the time today, Chris, and everyone who's joined us, and we'll have another Lunch and Learn next month. So take care, and I'm off for a dip with Swansea. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Yeah. It's really cool.